All right, lovely listeners. We are in for a treat today. I'm joined by Kim and Penny, and we're going to be talking about the time coach certification, their experience in it. Before, during, and after, we're going to air all the laundry. So, Kim, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself, and then Penny will introduce you too. Just say a little bit about where you are, where you're from, and maybe like what even drew you into becoming a time coach and getting this certification.
Hi everyone, so I am Kim. I am Dutch. I live in France. I have wanted to become a coach for a little over a year. I decided to first work on my self-coaching. So I really took last year to work on myself, and then joined the certification program in January. I really loved last year, Vicky, when you did the podcast with the cohort of last year. And there was this episode called The Gift, of how joining the certification program is really a gift to yourself. And that has really stuck with me. And I still had that fear last year of, okay, can I really become a coach? Is it really possible for me? And to embrace this feeling of I am doing this anyway, no matter if I will be a coach, like this is just something that I'm giving to myself. And I really feel like that is exactly what I did. And yeah, I'm very proud of myself for having finished it now.
Yeah, it's such a fun full circle moment to listen to a podcast and then now be recording it. And it's fun for everyone listening to be like, that could be you too. You get to be the person who's listening, wanting, and then achieving. So thank you, Kim. Penny?
Hello, Penny Moises. I am founder of an event called Home, Life and You. I discovered time hackers and became totally obsessed, knew that I needed to bring time hackers to Home, Life and You community. And Vicky actually joined us as a speaker at our event last year and will be returning this coming October in London. And I just wanted more as soon as I found out about it. And I wasn't somebody who'd listened to loads of the podcasts. I also, when I joined to become a time coach, I hadn't really had any experience, if any, of the time hacker community, but just jumped all in. And I think one of the main reasons that I did that is because my entire career has been in events, and we work on this very cyclical like cycles that come, and you just think after this event or when I have more time I'll be able to do X, Y, and Z. And I just knew that this was something that I really wanted to bring to an entire industry that needs a time revolution. So yeah, really, really grateful for the experience. And as I say, still more obsessed now than I was before, which I didn't think was possible.
Yeah, it's true. Like if you get because obviously we knew each other, we were talking anyway. I'd been at your events and so it was like that was your in, whereas some people know us are time hackers already, are listening to the podcast. So it's really fun that you've both come from different ways. What would you say? I'd love to hear from both of you if there's anything that like surprised you about the experience of getting certified, of how we certify, of what you did, what you experienced.
Well, I did really enjoyed, like I did expect it to be different because that was what was mentioned on the podcast last year. So I did knew that you were doing things differently. But at the same time, I was still expecting really the teaching calls to be like really teaching calls of just us listening to the person teaching us, and it is so different because we are all interacting. And everyone, like you have done the teaching calls, but also some of the other time hacker coaches, and there were also guest teachers, but everyone had this same mindset of we are co-creating this. Like just there are no wrong answers. You can say anything, and that felt really amazing.
Yeah, yes, right. I think that's such a big point. If like if you're learning from just me or just me and our current coaches, you're only learning from our brains and our experience. And I've just found it to be so much like richer and so much deeper and so much more expansive. And like, learning faster, better, getting smarter, quicker, the more brains are involved. Obviously, not the more brains, our cohorts are small, but yeah, that's super intentional. So great to hear. Thanks, Kim. What about you, Penny?
I think there's a few things. The first that came to mind was the connections that I've made, Kim included. Like I can't believe the kind of benefits that have come from being on an amazing cohort together, as well as, of course, the wider Time Hackers community. I think the biggest thing that surprised me though was, and I think I've spoken to you previously about it, Vicky, is there is no silver bullet. I think I was still expecting there to be manage your time like this. And what this has taught me is that, of course, there's no silver bullet. There's no one size fits all. But the power that can come from time optimization and working on your thoughts, the difference that that can make over having the perfect tool has been so surprising. And then finally, I would say, build on what Kim said, really, is that from the start of the program was you are already experts in this field, and there was no needing to prove yourself and to be so empowered to bring your own thoughts and experiences made all the difference.
Yes. And what's so interesting for everyone listening is we tend to typically market and draw people in intentionally. We don't market to like, you've always been good with your time, now help others, because that really wasn't my story, right? And we've now helped thousands of clients. And it's like, I think the person to help people is the person who knows the struggle, is the person who's like, I fall into this trap. I'm putting things off because I'm afraid of them. I'm doing too much. Like, that is it. So when we say bring in your expertise, we're talking about bringing your expertise of like, not your problems, I'm trying to think of a better word, but like your struggles, the things that your challenges, like what are those? That is your expertise. And that's like what you have to contribute to the group. So I think that's really powerful to share. What would you say is like evolved, or how have you guys evolved? What's changed about you? Um, in your professional life, in your personal life, in yourself, in how you're thinking, how you're feeling, like in your day to day, whatever, however you want to answer this, what would you say has changed about you since going through the certification?
I'm happy to go first. um, so much, and so much is still changing. I think after years of time being the problem, understanding that time isn't the problem, but what is, has driven me to go deeper into the way that I think, why I think it, what my beliefs are. And I would say that I'm still very much changing as a person in the way that I think, in a good way. But it hasn't been comfortable. It continues not to be comfortable, but have seen so much growth and opportunity because of that. And the conversations that I'm having with my husband, with my friends, with my family, with my colleagues, as I kind of go on that journey of discovery that helps me, but also in turn helps them to understand me, understand themselves, and really understand what we're all working towards, really.
Mm. So what do you think that creates?
Vulnerability is the first thing that came to mind, but I think with that authenticity and
Mm.
therefore aligning with what you really want. And I think the event that I run is very much about building a life and a home that supports what you want. And often that understanding what you want and what brings you joy is the hardest thing to understand. And I think you need to create space for those thoughts and those conversations. And so I think, like, to give you some specific examples, even how me and my husband operate at home when it comes to childcare and actually what we're working towards. So therefore, what results do we want to drive? Like that has really shifted. And as I say, continues to shift. And I love this
Wait,
idea.
I'd love a specific example. Like, say like how we've done house care, like what's shifted?
What shifted is that I now understand that my husband wants to go out and work and support us, and the pressure is off me in terms of what I want to do. And we're not striving, I shouldn't say we're not striving for equality, but we're the kind of the team dynamic is very different to when we first decided to have children and even first had kids, that we've been then toying with, well, how does this work? He wants one of us to be present. He would rather that be me. Like, he just wouldn't have either probably even come to that decision, let alone communicated that to me,
Yeah.
if we hadn't have had the conversations that we've had about, well, why are we finding this so hard, around we don't have enough time for each other, or, what does that look like? So to really dive deeper into those conversations and understand, well, what result are we trying to achieve here in terms of us as a family unit? And yeah, I think that's been amazing. And so we're, as I say, still very much on that journey, but to even have that conversation around what do we actually want independently, let alone as a unit, has been amazing.
So do you feel like now you're having like clearer boundaries, clearer responsibilities instead of both trying to do everything? It's like more like I know what I want to take responsibility for and I know what I want you to take responsibility for.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah. Amazing. Kim, what about you?
Um, I have really tried to apply the time hacker principles, like everything that we learned to become a coach, also to my everyday life. And I have really embraced the time hacker principle of a perfect coach is not an excellent coach. And instead, like before, my goal was always to be a perfect mom as well, and to just drop that and to just be an excellent mom.
Yeah.
And yeah, to apply it in all areas and
Yeah.
to really embrace myself. For me, it has really been a journey about myself, being okay with myself. And like you mentioned before, about our struggles of really accepting them and also feeling powerful because of them.
Mhm.
Like everything where I have struggled, that has made me who I am, and I can be proud of that.
Yes, yes. Sorry, I think you said it. Yeah, an excellent coach doesn't need to be a perfect coach. Yes.
Yeah,
It's okay.
maybe I missed it up.
Yeah, just for people listening, I don't want them to be like, so
Yeah,
I've got to be perfect because
yeah,
that's
no.
exactly what you were. So you explained it beautifully. And yeah, I think Kim, this is something that I even saw that like really shone out in your experience that you spoke about a lot. It's like just that like authenticity and that ability to be like kind of similar to what Penny's saying, like actually this is what I want to do and this is what I've thought I needed to do. And when I'm doing what I think I need to do, maybe I'm building resentment and it's taking from things in my life because I've been told that, that's what perfection is and that's what's required versus like, what do I need? What do my kids need? What does my partner need? What does my home need? Um, so really leaning into like the more myself I think that's been what I saw in this cohort. Every cohort teaches me different things. And this cohort has really been like, yeah, authenticity and the freedom and the liberation of that and how it impacts like your joy, your presence, your capacity, your relationships. So I love that both of you touched on that.
Just to build on that, Vicky, I think one of the things that's so simple, but just changing should to could. I just
Yeah.
practice that every day, and that even just that simple change has just made such a difference again
Yeah.
across all facets of my life. Because totally, and Kim and I have spoken about this lots around perfection and all the things that we think that we should do or society tells us we should do. It's like, well, we could, but we're going to decide what we do, and that's
Yes.
so powerful.
That's why I also find it so hard. But we're going to attempt to do it on this podcast. But I find it so hard to like sometimes quantify the impact because it's like the impact is way bigger than you think it's going to be. But if I almost say that at the beginning, you can't see the impact of like one small change and how it can like literally change your entire nervous system, improve your sleep, like change, like honest communication with your partner, like and what that creates in terms of space and lightness and joy and creativity. And like, I mean, Penny, your business went through a whole rebrand while you were getting certified. So, it's like you can't, it's so overwhelming to say to someone at the beginning of the journey, like, this is all that's going to change. It's like, it feels like too much. But I think you become the person where it feels still challenging, but it just kind of happens with less effort. When you're efforting, you can't make these changes. And when you stop like grinding to create change, the change compounds.
I also think it's perhaps because the time hacker impact isn't time bound. Because again, we're not fixed, we're not done, we're not where like life will happen and there'll be another thing that then we need to get coached on. And I think that's why the time hacker community model is so powerful, being lifetime, because I'm going to need to work on this stuff for a lifetime. I've had 37 years of stuff that I've learned that I need to unlearn, and other things that I want to bring in. Like that isn't going to happen overnight or within a 12-week program,
Yes.
and be done. And I think that's what's so amazing about the tools and the things that you learn. Like this is for life. So I think the impact is, for the rest of my life now. It's not a distinct program that's time bound.
Yeah. And I also think that in terms of like becoming time coaches and creating a career around it, every person you work with is going to, like at every stage in their life. Firstly, everyone you know has a time problem. And like literally everyone you can help. And that's why you're even seeing these changes in your most intimate relationships, because it's like you can't not see change. So it's so ripe. It's like a ripe, juicy pear, it's like just wants to be changed, just wants to be bitten. I think that, and also I think that's why it's such a powerful area to become an expert or become a coach in, because I mean, this is literally your story, Penny. Will you just share it? What happened? Was it like 1 week into the program or 2 weeks into the program?
So it was back in March. I went to an event, which even how I showed up at that event was different after learning the time hacker approach, and just happened to mention somebody who was talking about things being busy. We're just having a general conversation. I said, "Oh, interesting. I'm actually qualified to become a time hacker. She's like, tell me a bit more about that." And so just shared. Um, and she said, that sounds absolutely amazing. Well, when you're qualified, then please get in touch because we'd love to explore how we could work with you. And then a month before we were coming to the kind of end of the qualification, she said, look, I've got some members of my team that could really benefit from having the conversations that you described. I know you're not qualified yet, but can we work with you? So
Yeah.
I've literally just come off another coaching conversation with one of the team, and it's been incredible. And I'm coaching a number of people across an organization, and there are lots of people that need to change their relationship or want to change their relationship with time and how they're feeling. But what's interesting is also working with some of their managers and other people in the organization that perhaps don't perceive that they have a challenge with time. And then as we're exploring more about that, yes, things start to come out, and it's not like I'm trying to give everyone a problem with time, but you realize, some of either the things that you're suppressing or what you're allowing yourself to think or feel about something. And I think that's been really interesting. And as I say, I think there's an entire industry that could do with with some coaching.
I can't think of a single industry that wouldn't benefit. Like everywhere I am, whether I'm in a restaurant or a cafe, walking in the park, kindergarten pickup, like whatever it is, everyone I speak to is like, I need that. I'm like, I don't, I work a 15-hour week, so, but I'm training people that can help you. It's like, it's so ripe. But I just love that story that they're like, oh, let us know when you're certified. And then they're like, no, 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 we need you now. And that really is, what I think when it comes to time, that this is such important work. Like it really is. Um, so I love that share.
And I think the biggest thing for me is it's not even just about, it's just how you feel about yourself. Like that's the key thing that keeps coming up. I want to do better, and I want to achieve the goal, and just that often that strive and that need. And in some examples it's potentially people pleasing, but a lot of it is just I really want to be better. And it's like to enable people to feel better about that and celebrate the things they're already doing really, really well. But I just think this overarching feeling of just not being good enough, wouldn't it be just amazing if we could change a percentage of society with, like, as many people as possible to just feel better?
Yeah, yeah, that is exactly what we're trying to do. Kim, were you going to say something then?
Yeah, no, just that I exactly agree with that. I think that coaching is for everyone.
Yeah.
And I would love to coach teenagers as well, because I know that I could have benefited so much for them from that when I was a teenager. And now as a mom, I can also, like, we are also coaches as moms. But with everything that I've learned, I can take it so much further as well, and recognize this feeling of not good enough. And okay, let's talk a little bit more about that.
Mm.
And like you mentioned, Penny, of you have these 37 years of the habits that you want to change. What if we could change it already with our kids and with our teenagers?
Yeah, I love that. And this is what I love as well about, everybody comes in to the certification different with different experience, different, see, and also everyone gets to leave different. One of the things that I speak about in this certification is we're not like cookie cutter, and we're not like putting you all in a box, and we're not making you all teach the same, coach the same, or care about the same issues and want to solve the same problems. And so for me, the diversity in who we attract, but also what people want to then do with it afterwards is such a joy. So I love that, Kim. Is there anything, if you're happy to share, and it's okay if not, is there anything you mentioned like with your kids? Is there anything that you've noticed in particular that's changed around the way you're able to support them or anything like that?
Well, I think mostly the importance of holding space for someone. So just listening without saying anything.
Hmm.
I think is very important, and something that I've really tried out with my husband and with my kids as well. And then to just recognize for my kids when they have these limiting beliefs, um, yeah, of not feeling good enough, of feeling like there's something wrong with them, which is exactly how I used to feel. So it's really easy for me to recognize it and to relate to it, and then yeah, just talk about it.
Yeah. So you feel like you're more able to, or like you're able to have conversations easier.
Yeah, of like really recognizing, like, wait, this is something they are really believing, that they're not good enough, and
Mhm.
how can we change that? How can we change this belief, and make them realize that they're amazing just like they are.
Yeah, and I think it's so, even like so being a mum, I think it's so interesting because sometimes you look at your kids and like, but you are, of course you are. You can just say something like, but I love you,
Yeah,
you are amazing, and you like expect that to solve everything, and it's like it really doesn't solve anything. What it does is create like almost a boundary of like a barrier of like, well, there's no point speaking to mum about this because she doesn't get it, versus like that quietness. I mean, it's just powerful. Thank you for sharing that.
Can I just jump in with there was one thing that you said that builds on that around affirmations don't work for everyone. And to get that permission for something as simple as that, because they don't work for me, and to get permission for that to be okay, and it doesn't, you're not alone in that. Even just that was so powerful, because otherwise you think, and the idea of toxic positivity and all of that kind of stuff that builds on that um is just really powerful. We're all wired differently and different things work for us, and even just that is so kind of enabling.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I'm the same. I speak about this a lot. Affirmations didn't work for me, and it's great if they work. If you're listening and they work for you, keep doing what works for you. But also, there's nothing wrong with you if things don't work for you. And I think our go-to is to be like, "There's something wrong with me," instead of "There's something wrong with the tool," which is why all of our tools and all of our coaching tools that we teach and certify our coaches in are so like flexible, fluid. Like they're so you can I can't think of the word, but it's like personalizable, if that's a word. Because it's like you have to, why do we co-create when we create the certification? Because each cohort is different, and it's the same thing we expect from our coaches when they're working with their clients. Not to say this is my set program and you will fit into this because I want to follow a process, but instead to say, how are we going to co-create this coaching experience so that you get what you want from it, not what I want you to have from it. It's not about me, the coach, getting an A plus. It's about you, the client, getting the experience. So I love that share. Um, is there anything, I mean, Penny, I remember actually chats with you because it was quite last minute, let's say, when you were like, should I do this? But was there anything for either of you that almost stopped you and you were like, maybe I'm not going to do this, or maybe I'll do this later, or whatever it might be?
Time.
Yeah.
Um, and I think for me, I mean, time and finances and all that kind of stuff absolutely played a part, as they would with any kind of decision like this. Um, but this battle on whether I was ready to kind of open up, and I love how we've explored like the kind of 1% belief to get you to a point. And so I think it was a little bit around belief as to whether this was the right thing for me, and whether it would work and what it would do and all of that kind of stuff. But also because I knew the coaching approach would bring up things that were perhaps underlying, that I was like, am I ready to kind of lean into that? And that's what's been so lovely, that it's been such a supportive environment to do that, because of course you are, or well, as part of the program, you coach and are coached, and it's really important for you to experience that. So it's not just a qualification on something, as you say, cookie cutter or whatever, that you then just go off. Actually, there's so much kind of inner work that is wonderful that goes on alongside. And so I think I was probably a bit apprehensive about that, but so pleased that I went for it when I did.
Yeah, like, is there anything you would say to that version of yourself now?
Maybe just it will be okay. And again, you are enough. Like, I
Mm.
think that statement in itself, even though I still struggle to believe it, and it is daily, hourly, minute by minute work that will is being done, and I hope it gets easier. But I know that I can imagine that I will just have to keep doing that. And again, that's what's so amazing about the time hacker community, that it can continue to support you
Yeah.
with that. But yeah, probably you are enough.
Yeah. 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 You are enough, even if your brain tells you otherwise. I think like that's
Yes.
the lesson, right?
Yeah.
Yes, I love that. Thanks, Penny. What about you, Kim?
For me, it was about the money.
Yeah.
I knew I wanted to join, but it really felt like a big investment. Also, investing in myself felt really scary. And I think as a mom, it's different as well, uh, because I don't know how much money I need for to pay for their college tuition or anything similar. So it felt really scary for me. I did coach myself on it, and I realized that how much anxiety I was feeling about taking money from my saving accounts. And once I paid for it, it was so like I already joined Time Hackers in October before the certification program start, and I just got this huge boost of watching all the videos and really feeling like I belong in this community. Like this was exactly the step that I needed to take. And so I felt so good about the investment. And I even coached a friend of mine on it who was asking me, like, oh, I want to do this program for myself, but it feels so hard to like to invest this money in myself. And I mentioned to her, like, as moms, it's so easy to invest in our kids. We pay for their braces, we pay for their car lessons, for the driving lessons. And then when it comes to ourselves, it's like, oh, wait, maybe we don't need to pay for that. Maybe I don't need it. And she decided that same day that she was going to do it as well. And I think it feels really powerful to just take that step and to invest in ourselves. And it's also this message that we're showing ourselves like we are good enough and we are worth investing in ourselves.
Yes. It's so true. We've had people say this to us at different means of like that was the thing that needed to unlock for them was like I would definitely spend this on my child. So it's interesting. That like at what point is it like, oh, so I don't deserve money spent on me, on my dreams, on my goals, on myself, on my mental health, like on all of this stuff. So I love that. Thank you. Before we wrap up, is there anything that you would say to anyone who's considering and who's like, I would love to, but maybe, or I don't know, like I'm thinking about it. Maybe I'm like 10% curious, maybe I'm 50% curious, like I'm intrigued. Is there anything that you would want them to know?
Well, that it's just so worth it.
Mm,
Like, even if I could not work as a coach at all, which I don't believe is true, but like if I say that, then for my self journey, I have made so much progress. And I have been able to take my self coaching so much deeper. So yeah, it's really worth it.
and what does that like for you self progress? Like what does that look like? If just so they can like imagine it for themselves.
Of truly embracing myself and truly feeling like I belong
Mm,
and being okay with myself. I have stopped holding myself back. I think before I was really overthinking a lot and not able to speak up. And joining the calls was such a huge step out of my comfort zone. But I continued to do it and got coached on it at the same time. So yeah, embracing this discomfort has really allowed me to take this huge step forward.
yeah, I think like just observing, I really see you like evolved into like this powerful leader.
Yeah, which is funny because I think it's on the first or the second call that you mentioned that we are all leaders. And I was like nodding yes, but in my head I was thinking, well, that's not me. And I had a call with Becky, who was also in our cohort. And so we were just chatting, and I mentioned like, yeah, I'm so not a leader. I'm not feeling that. And she immediately coached me on it. And it was so amazing for me because I would have never asked coaching on that. Like it was just a thought that I had that I believed to be true, and I never questioned it. And for her to coach me on that was so powerful and really shifted this way of thinking of me. And now I do see myself as a leader. And it will show up like something will happen and I will recognize like, hey, yes, I am a leader. And that feels really good.
I also just got like tingles as you were speaking because there's just so many things that I think it's hard to get across in words, but only through story, like examples. Like one of the, with having you guys do the peer coaching session, I just think there's something so powerful about being in a room of other people who are doing the work around time, but also doing the work around coaching and the support and the conversations that you have with people who become friends, right? Like even today, Kim was like, I'll message Penny, and see if she's available. Like to have that community, to have those relationships around you for people to be like, hey, do you want to talk about that when it's just so powerful and valuable. Um, so just a lot in the story you just shared about how you got there. It's like one, being presented with the idea, two, having a safe conversation with a friend where you're questioning an idea or not even believing it, and three, where they have the capacity and the skill to be like, hey, do you want to talk about that? And you, where you have the trust in them to say yes. Like that is how change happens. That is why like there's so much magic in this room, I think. Thanks, Kim. Penny, what about you?
So I think there's a couple of things. First is, again, similar to that, you are enough. I just remember thinking, oh my goodness, all of these people that must be better or had brought coaching experience with them. And I know that I've spoken to Kim about this. I just kept thinking, oh my goodness, Kim is getting all the work done. She's done all the videos already. Every time she's got something to say. And, in my mind, Kim was the kind of perfection that I needed to aspire to be. And I just think the kind of vulnerability and again authenticity, coming back to that word, of everybody within the cohort, It's not to say that Kim isn't amazing. Kim absolutely is, but to be able to share those things and discover actually the way that you might come across, or you nodding saying, "Oh yes, I'm a leader," and then actually understanding your thought process behind that and being able to relate to that. So I think back to your question, what would I say to somebody thinking about this? Don't assume that everybody else has got it together, or indeed, if they do have all of this other experience, or get through the modules quicker, or have been in the time hacker community for however long, that what you bring isn't going to be valuable, and that it's not going to be accessible to you. Because, as I say, I came from a point of hadn't been in the community before with no coaching experience whatsoever. And I think in some ways that became a superpower, or that was something
Yes.
that could then help. It was another point of view, and could bring other experiences and conversations. And so yeah, I think I would say that don't belittle any of your experiences, or think that you have to come with any experience or prior knowledge, because I certainly didn't, and it's been amazingly transformative. But the other thing that I just wanted to mention is something that I've learned and I'm continuing to explore within the time hacker model, which is pros and cons. And if you weigh up the cons, you're always going to find reasons not to do something, rather than really trusting in what you want to do. And you're always going to find reasons not to do something, and your brain wants to keep you safe and not doing the
Mm-hmm.
new thing, if it seems too hard. But again, just it's an amazingly supportive environment, and go for it.
Yeah. Yeah, I saw this quote recently that you just reminded me of, which is like, if you fight for your excuses, you get to keep them. If you fight for like, I'm not good enough, I don't have the right experience, I'm already not good enough with my time, I need to be something different to who I am. Like all of those, then you get to keep that story, and it's not, and that impacts your other life. So it was just a really powerful quote. I was like,
It just made me reflect on something, Vicky, that I would say I'm incredibly open-minded and love to learn from people. I would say that I have a massively growth mindset. But when it comes to being open, I'm not as open with how I feel about myself, not as open to changing that, which, the irony of how different the approach to me and my thoughts and my feelings about myself compared to everybody else and the other opinions that I can change. And I think again that's been a great gift that this has given me.
hmm And super intentional, right? It's like safety in self, safety in one-on-one, and like encouraging you guys to have requiring you guys to have peer conversations, and safety in the community online and also on our live calls. Like it's a very unique experience. Now you guys have the skill, you can create that safety in all of your relationships and any environment you want to, but it's not something that we're ever taught. And I think that's why, we're able to be so vulnerable. We're able to share things we've not shared before, and we're able to see things that we've not seen before. So yes, come and get certified and become a time coach because you want to help other people with their most precious resource, but also come for you. Like, I think, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Thank you both for being here. Thank you both for saying yes, even when it felt scary. And I'm so proud of you guys and so grateful that we get to be here. And thanks to everyone listening as well. And if you want to become a certified time coach, the link will be in the show notes to read more. And we'll see you guys soon. See you guys in the community.
Take care. Thank
Bye,
you.
everyone. Bye.